This episode is brought to you by LifeLock. Not everyone is careful with your personal information, which might explain why there's a victim of identity theft every 5 seconds in the US. Fortunately, there's LifeLock. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second for threats to your identity. If your identity is stolen, a US-based restoration specialist will fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year by visiting lifelock.com/podcast. Terms apply.
Season 1 of Andor had critics calling it the best Star Wars series yet. Season 2 of the Emmy-nominated series is now streaming on Disney+. Follow Cassian Andor as he embarks on a path from a rebel to a hero. Starring Diego Luna and from creator Tony Gilroy, writer of Michael Clayton and The Bourne Identity. Season 2 of Andor is now streaming only on Disney+.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugatz Podcast. It is time for Stugatz to share his game notes. No one in the media will tell you what happened better than my boy Stu.
Dan? Wait a minute. We're going to do this to Amin again, where we're putting him in the bad spot of Andrew Santino is watching and he has to do his weekend observations.
Is Andrew Santino watching right now?
At home, perhaps, because this is live and we're putting you in the position to perform Stugatz's bit.
I want to give a little look behind the scenes here. Last week, Santino came on with us, did great improv. He was so good at improv, he actually didn't even hear, but he could just see what was going on, and then we went to him as if he heard, and he made it seem like, I'm telling you, Lewis told me after that interview, he didn't even hear Weekend Observations, but he was still so good on his feet that none of us noticed.
He is the yes and king. And I tried to do yes and the next day, and everyone stared at me like, what do you mean, like an elephant? Like it was the worst improv ever, and I felt so ashamed.
He seems like someone that watches, right, Andrew Santino?
Yeah,
Yep.
He does. He's a sports guy. He does like sports. Bobby, not so much. But Santino, yes. All right, Dan, Weekend Observations are presented by Miller Lite. Dan, this league was made for these moments. Tim Hardaway getting hit on the arm, Luka Doncic getting tripped, and referees swallowing their whistle in the biggest moments, only to then come out after the game in the 2-minute report to say, whoops, our bad. And Dan, just like that, make no mistake about it, the NBA games getting ruined by officiating are back.
It is crazy. We've already had a couple of our bad at the end of the game. The whole series was decided by our bad.
Nothing says Knicks-Pistons playoffs like a 94-93 rock fight. JB Bickerstaff leads the league in bickering. You can't spell JB Bickerstaff without bicker.
That's true.
Does no one else think it's weird that a coach for another team, in this case Chauncey Billups, was sitting front row cheering for a team he doesn't coach?
That's a good point. Good observation.
Also a good observation by you that Bickerstaff begins with bicker.
Yep. The Pistons wanting a physical game, only to then complain about not getting foul calls. You know what they say? You can't have your cake and eat it too. Or the Stugatz is strong in the Pistons, either or. I did not think we would see a more pathetic game than Game 1 of OKC Memphis. But congratulations, Miami Heat.
Yeah.
You did it.
Yeah.
The H in Miami Heat stands for how embarrassing.
Yeah.
That 3% chance at Cooper Flag
Yep.
doesn't sound too bad right now.
That's right.
Yeah. Jeremy talking about the Heat. Lipstick on a pig. Tyler Hero saying we're not going down 4-0. Hey, Tyler, think again. And while you're at it, enjoy Cancun. Big 5-0 run by Miami to close the game, though.
To keep him under 60. Do we have that Whittingham? Do we have the Whittingham betting slip that we were promising from earlier? Because it is hard to find this. A live bet he made on the Miami Heat plus 57 and a half.
You know what they say, good teams win.
Plus juice. You can get that at.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I told them frame that.
That is a work of art right there.
Like, can we fax that to the Heat front office? Just fax it. I want old wax paper being faxed of that betting slip.
Hey, Mike, nobody beats the Heat by 60 on their home court in the playoffs. Nobody. Culture. For anybody who thinks going in the 5th round will humble Shedeur Sanders, must not know who Shedeur Sanders is. I don't know what's worse for Shedeur Sanders. falling in the draft, or still somehow ending up on the Browns. Cleveland Browns drafting 2 quarterbacks. You know what they say? If you draft 2 quarterbacks, you drafted none. The Browns have Kenny Pickett, Deshaun Watson, Shedeur Sanders, and Dylan Gabriel. All for Joe Flacco to remind them who's who. Joe Cool. Blue Jays pitcher Kevin Gossman getting ejected and then tripping down the stairs. Insult to injury. Why doesn't that happen more often?
I guess people do trip downstairs.
Yeah. Dan, you know what Nas Reed does for the Timberwolves?
Hits big threes?
He does it all. There are some nights where if you didn't know any better, you'd assume Nas Reed was the best player in NBA history. Nas Reed or Al Horford, shot for your life?
I saw Al Horford the other day dive into the stands for no good reason, just to do it at 37.
Mike, why was there a Nas Reed banner hanging at WrestleMania? You saw that, right?
Because he's Nas Reed. He deserves it. He's great.
I know you think that that's where this Venn diagram meets, but I actually don't follow basketball.
Zaz, I'll tell you why. Because there's some nights where if you didn't know any better, you'd assume Nas Reed was the best player in NBA history.
Every time I do watch the T-Wolves secretly, like, he's a good player, right? Like, he's really good.
He's young Al Horford.
He's impactful.
He's young Al Horford, I'm telling you. Let's see. Travis Hunter, the rare first-round pick that feels like your team is getting 2 first-round picks. Congratulations to our engineer, Daniel Gonzalez Quevedo. That's his name? On his
GQ.
On his wedding this past weekend. Danny GQ.
Everybody calls him GQ.
Yeah.
We had an office wedding around here. Billy, do you have any opinions on office weddings? How do you feel about this?
How do I feel about office weddings? I think Danny GQ is a very nice guy, and he did a thing where he put his save the date on the fridge, and he said, if anyone wants to come, let me know. And I think that it was a nice gesture. And then about 40 people from the office showed up, and I don't think that that's what the intention was. I think I felt bad because I saw everybody bonding and having a good time, and he's such a nice guy that he's like, yeah, of course I want everyone to go, but I've had a wedding. I know it's pricey, and from what I hear, it was 2 tables of coworkers.
No way.
That's a lot.
That's too much?
That's a lot of people. Sometimes you just say, you know what? I love you. I hope you have a magical day. I know you don't actually want me there. It's just an added expense. I hope everyone has a great time.
Billy, you know what they say? When you have 2 tables of coworkers, you don't have any.
That was supportive, though. That was loving, a loving gesture to celebrate love.
I love love.
I mean, but also, like, with this crew, they'll go anywhere there's an open bar.
Look at that. Dangerous Nights crew.
I think with this crew, if you said, guys, end of times, you're going to hell with Art Briles, but there's an open bar, half of them would sign up for it. An eternity in hell with an open bar, they'd sign up.
You're
Not a doubt in my
saying you cannot make an open invitation to people in this office and not expect to get really hurt on the bill, is what you're saying.
Well, I mean, it's an open bar. You pay for it on the front end.
Yeah.
You know, to pay for plate and then +1 situation.
Yeah, but it's not like they didn't bring gifts.
2 tables.
The gifts
game is always a situation where, like, you start doing a thing where you're like, well, I know what this costs. And, you know, plus minus here on the value of this, you know, George Foreman grill. I can get this for like $79. It cost me $200 to feed you and your +1 here. I don't know that we're breaking even, Jack.
R.I.P. George Foreman.
Yeah, man. That was a sad one.
To GQ, on behalf of Dan, blank check. On behalf of me, you're welcome. In honor of GQ's wedding, top 5 athletes and entertainers who connote a wedding. OLI, Darius Garland. OLI, Usher. OLI, Chapel Roan. Number 5, Derek Favors.
What did I miss on Darius Garland? Is a garland something? What is a garland? Forgive me, I don't know what a garland is.
Maybe it's a Darius.
Is it a Darius thing?
What is the joke?
Is it what they call
Darius
the thing?
Garland?
Like
Garland is a wreath of flowers and leaves worn on the head or hung as a decoration.
What's a Darius?
I love love.
That's a good question.
Austin Centric got one of those.
What's the thing that's around like the thigh?
Oh,
you know,
garter belt?
Garter belt.
Garter belt. Yes, it's not Darius garter belt.
No, it's close though.
Oh, you're not talking about a garter belt. You're talking about the thing that's tossed.
No, that's a
right?
bouquet.
Yeah.
That's Darius bouquet.
But you also toss a garter belt.
Yes, you do.
I had a teacher, Ed Garland.
That's interesting.
He was a harness racer.
No, thank you. More information.
Yeah, I
please.
mean,
It just
more
the
interesting.
Feels
tail
like these
now
are
on
just-
spools, and we really get to enjoy the tapestry.
Layers of an onion.
Yes, just crazy where that story ended.
I've always tried to avoid catching the thing at a wedding because I don't want the uncomfortable, like now you're doing a thing with some woman you barely know where you're like reaching up her leg. It's just like.
That's Greg Cote's humor to just have a name and say I had a teacher who had that name and go off wandering
It's true.
to an
Pompano Park.
uninteresting place.
Greg also harness racer one
Thank you.
time.
You can't save
Remember?
it. You can't save that you had a teacher named Ed Garland and it contributed nothing to the conversation. In fact, while I'm at it,
Minor penalty, 2 minutes for adding nothing.
I had a teacher named Ed Garland. Useless. I don't care.
I'm
Nobody
leaving you
cares.
wanting more. You're not getting more about
I don't want more.
He was a harness racer. What is that?
I'm not telling you about Pompano Park. Not going to get it.
Dan, I think you kind of steamrolled something else that happened where Chris said, I've never liked the garter belt thing. I don't want to reach up on a strange woman.
I don't like this thing at weddings.
I don't like it either.
Chris.
No, it's not. It's whoever catches the bouquet and the person who catches the thing that the guy throws. Then all of a sudden you're like, you guys, have you ever been to a wedding before? What are
I
you guys
have not
talking
had
about?
this experience at a wedding.
They're
No,
a
I have
bouquet.
never
Whoever
reached
catches
up
the
someone
bouquet
else's
sits down
leg.
on the thing.
No,
Yes.
that's not true.
The way he
Yes.
initially described it is that the strange woman is his wife.
Is his
Like,
wife.
hey,
It's
it's
like-
not a strange woman that you're
Yeah, you're
rubbing up
wrong.
leg
The
on.
wife sits down, and the groom then
there's-
gets the garter
No,
belt.
then there's the extra stuff with the bridesmaids and the
depends
like.
on
No, the
the wedding.
bouquet is
Sometimes
like
the
if you
bouquet
catch that,
person-
you're the next to get
those
married,
are two different
right?
things.
No, and then the lady, then the guy flicks something. There's like a man catches
guy
something, and
flicks
then
what?
it flicked.
Have you ever been to a wedding?
How is this worse than Eddie Garland?
No,
Like,
I'm no
Jeremy
Chris.
Hoppen there hit the
No,
beats.
I'm not gonna leave Chris alone on this. I believe that he's right. That these are two different things. There's the throwing of the bouquet over the shoulder, and
Yes.
that's the next alleged bridesmaid that will get married.
Yes.
and then there is also something with the garter and the garter being thrown.
Yes,
I've just been at weddings where all of a sudden, like a random guy at the wedding is like crawling up the floor of like one of the bridesmaids who caught the bouquet.
I mean, maybe that's a wedding in prison.
I mean, I guess that's a dealer's choice. But just to be clear, the strange woman whose leg you were creeping up on to get
It's
the
your
garter
wife.
belt, that was your wife.
Your wife.
Yeah, man.
I didn't do that at my wedding. Like as I said, I don't like that. At my wedding, I'm like, we're not doing that.
Oh,
You
really?
don't want a stranger.
You
You
did,
don't want to feel up a
you did
stranger.
the little slingshot motion like you've done it before.
Like, it seemed like you slingshotted some garter. That's
Actually, you
what
know
it
what?
seemed
Now that
like.
I think back, I think they did the thing where I was blindfolded, and then they replaced my wife with like one of my
It was a
groomsmen.
strange
They
woman.
pranked
And all of a
you.
sudden, I like
Strange
grabbed
woman.
my
They pranked you.
my buddy's leg, and I'm like, this is not my wife's
Yeah.
leg.
All right. So that is a very personal story.
Number 4.
Just this hairy leg he's peeling up to get a
That's actually a
garter
good
belt.
gag. Good gag.
This doesn't happen at every wedding.
Somebody looked like DJ Khaled.
Number 4. Franco Harris. The Immaculate Reception. Number 3. Jonas I Do. Number 2. Jonah Bride. Number 1. Michael Jordan.
Kevin Love would make an appearance here somewhere. right?
Rings.
But anybody?
Rings.
Former
Dan.
Marlon
Love.
Jonah Bride, huh?
Yeah. I'm digging deep today. Hey, don't look now. Here come the Rays. If the NFL draft was based on names and names alone, a quarterback named Jackson Dart would go first overall every time.
That's correct.
Sean Payton telling NFL teams they should beware of snubbing Shedeur Sanders while also not drafting Shedeur Sanders. Sean Payton, the Stugats is strong in you. How long do you think before Shedeur Sanders can recite all 143 players drafted before him? He's got to have it down by now, right?
No,
No?
that's a lot. 143 is too many to memorize in just a couple of days.
I don't know, man. What else has he been doing?
143 is too many. Put it on the poll, Juju at Lebitard Show. Could you memorize 143 names in 2 days?
Dan. That didn't sound right. Let me do it again. Dan, do you know what this Clippers Nuggets series has?
It has everything.
A little bit of everything.
A
That's
little
right.
bit of everything.
Good job. The last time the Pistons won a home playoff game, I was a video coordinator. George W. Bush was president, and Apple hadn't opened the App Store yet. Hey, NFL draft picks, can we stop trying to wear retired jersey numbers? They're retired. Get over it. Pick a new number and build your own legacy. How about that?
That's right.
Good on LT for telling him to F off.
No, he didn't.
He didn't tell him to F off. He just told him no, but he said, I'll be back behind you every 2 steps. I'll be 2 steps behind you every step of the way.
How do we feel about the Warren Moon Cam Ward thing? They brought Warren Moon out to hand it over, which I guess is a nice touch. And also, a bit of context, Warren Moon never played in Tennessee.
Yeah, I thought that was weird.
An Oiler.
Huge update for Chris. Apparently, according to masterclass.com, which is teaching about the garter toss, sometimes indeed the groomsman who catches the garter will place it on the bridesmaid who caught the bouquet. That's the next
All I was
step.
saying, guys, I've seen that happen before.
That happens
Sometimes.
occasionally, yeah.
Back off. Never seen it.
But that's good.
But apparently it's a thing.
That's good if you're single and horny.
That's why I always feel uncomfortable by it.
It depends on who
if you
catches
remember,
it.
I started by saying I don't like that.
Well,
Well,
that's
that's like
why-
all of a sudden I'm like, well, I don't know this woman.
Respectful.
And because she caught the bouquet, I'm now like, my wife's over. Sorry, honey, I'm gonna go climb up this lady's
feminist.
dress and.
But that's why it's optional. See, like
You're an ally.
I once caught the garter belt when I was 8 years old. Like,
Ooh.
That's uncomfortable.
You leave it as an optional thing.
Hey, Cleveland Browns, Hard Knocks, collision course. There's nothing more insulting in sports than calling the last pick of the draft Mr. Irrelevant, Brock Purdy. When Todd McShay talks NFL draft, you know what you do, Dan? You listen. I felt bad for Dylan Gabriel. It wasn't until he got picked that everyone finally went, what the hell is going on? Speaking of hell, Art Briles. Dan, those are the weekend observations.
Excellent work, Amin. Diana was right on the George Kittle contract. He has signed an extension for $40 million guaranteed. Diana Rossini's information is as good as anybody's. I wanted to ask the group here. Jalen Hurts sat out the White House, but Saquon went to the White House at a side-picking time. People can talk about unity, talk about sports. Saquon Barkley making a decision, and during a very popular time for Saquon Barkley, to go to a White House that has been dividing the country. What are you looking at me like that for?
I don't think it's the White House visit so much as the, hell yeah, I'm going to go golf with Trump.
Right.
It was just, he had like a tweet that was doubling and tripling down.
Well, he did more than the White House. He hung out with him the day before. I think they started a round of golf. He flew on Marine One with him, and then they had the White House the next day. And they had lunch. There was photos together. So people were not happy with the level of palling around he seemed to be doing.
Right. I think the White House visit, for the most part, I know people have, on different types of history, skipped it because of political differences. But for the most part, I think people are accepting, hey, when you win a championship, the tradition is you go to the White House, you meet the president, you take your picture, whatever.
But also, no one says we're going to meet the president. They say we're going to the White House.
Yeah. It's the extracurricular itinerary around the White House trip that I think everyone's going nuts about, and the tweet that we have on the screen right now where he's doubling and tripling down on it.
And I would just tell people who tire of politics with their sports that what is happening presently in this country, as you get offenses after offenses, that it's just reporting that the Patriots plane is deporting people, and we're arresting immigration judges, and we're doing stuff that when sports is used to sanitize power and a presidency, I will just tell you that is something that my grandparents and my parents talked about from Cuban times on how it is that freedom gets threatened by propaganda, misinformation, and somebody who doesn't know he's being used as a tool because he's a Super Bowl champion, being used as a tool without realizing he's being used as a tool when the White House sends out the pictures to sanitize what is a laundering of freedom that no American should be okay with.
Dan, it's not unlike the whole Saudi Arabia live golf thing, or Qatar with the World Cup, where everyone was clutching pearls, like, how can we allow them to use sports to kind of sanitize their image? And I'm like, where do you think they learned it from?
It's the same thing.
They learned it from here.
But that's been normalized, and now this will be normalized as we talk third terms on a presidency. Like, I think it's clear to all that if in sports you make some choices to hobnob with this particular power, you are selling a piece of your soul.
Can I throw this out there, by the way, as we speak about third-term presidencies? I feel like the Republicans are opening a box they don't want to open. Because who was the main guy who was like, oh, I wish I could have voted for him a third time? You open that third term, guess what? Now all of a sudden the Democrats don't have a leadership issue. They don't have, oh, who's our guy? Barry, come back in. Puts on the cape, saves America again.
Oh, no, it'll be tied to the 2020 election. See, look, there wasn't like they'll open the door for Don, but close the door on Barry real quick. Hey, you in the audience, it's Mike. You've been a fan of this show, hopefully, for a long time, and you know how much Miller Lite means to me. This partnership, it's real. It's documented. For almost 20 years, Miller Lite has been a partner of the Dan Le Batard Show with Stugotz, and now Miller Lite is celebrating its 50th anniversary. I've had so many great moments with Miller Lite, so many great activations, so many great events presented by Miller Lite, a great partner. Cheers to them. Cheers to 50 incredible years. And for you at home, you know that Miller time always means a good time. From game night to parties with friends or a special anniversary, celebrating important occasions means more moments with the coolest people in your life. Cheers to 50 years of Miller Lite, the great-tasting light beer for people who love beer since 1975. Now's a perfect time to celebrate legendary stories with friends, family, and a great-tasting light beer. It's Miller time. Miller Lite, great taste, 96 calories. Go to MillerLite.com/Dan to find delivery options near you, or you can pick up some Miller Lite pretty much anywhere they sell beer. It's Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces. Game Time is the official ticketing partner of the Dan Le Batard Show with Stugotz. I am Mike Ryan, and as you know, on this show, I am often touting Game Time because I believe in this product. And as a play-in tournament begins this week, why don't you head on over to Game Time? As a Miami Heat fan, I've got plenty of great experiences with that play-in tournament. A lot of good runs started in this play-in tournament. Might be a little frustrated that they're always in the play-in tournament, but that's a story for another day. The good news is Game Time makes getting tickets to that play-in tournament faster and easier, even for hard-to-get playoff seats. Prices on the Game Time app may actually go down the closer it gets to tip-off. With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying NBA playoff tickets. And don't forget about that all-in pricing. Toggling this feature shows the total up front, with no surprise fees at checkout. And Game Time's got its unparalleled ticket coverage. Your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code DAN for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code DAN for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Hey folks, it's Mike Ryan, and if you're watching our show, you've probably known your boy has undergone a little bit of a body transformation, and I gotta tell you, Peloton has helped me on my fitness journey. It got the ball rolling for me because I watch my wife on the Peloton. She takes all these great classes. She has her favorite instructors. I listen to the music. I'm a big music guy. It gets me fired up, makes me want to take part in this fitness phenomenon known as Peloton. Peloton offers a variety of challenging classes, from 4-week strength building classes to running, cycling, and everything in between. Peloton will help you achieve your goals, and maybe you'll have some fun along the way. I know I have. It's backed by thousands of members whose lives have been changed. Be part of that group. Telling you, I'm better for it. Have it in my office. Sometimes I can put on the baseball game. Sometimes I can put on a soccer match. Some other times I'm totally locked in on an emo playlist. Find your push. Find your power with Peloton at onepeloton.com.
Dan Le Batard. John Zaslow. How you love that catchphrase. Bad news for opposing teams in the Triple-A. Stugotz. He's all smiles till LeBron's a clutch again. Clutch again. Clutch again. This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz.
Ron McGill is joining us now. He has avoided politics. People here locally have tried to get him to do some things that he would obviously win, but he does not want in this dirty game. So we'll just talk about with the animals with him and the conversation that the internet has been having the last few days. Ron, we've been having a forum about
a gorilla
with you for many years.
We need to make a correction. This Patriot story is from 2022. That's a different administration.
Okay, my bad.
Stop reading the internet.
Okay, my bad.
That's a fine, right?
Yes, that's got to be a big fine, obviously. Yes, I hadn't seen that story.
Thank you, Billy, for doing the research on that.
Yes, thank you, Billy. Can I ask you, Ron, have a lot of people been asking you about that 100 people versus a gorilla?
Yeah, I just did an interview with Rolling Stone magazine about it.
Excuse me.
Wow.
Okay.
Look at me, Lou.
Well, wait a minute. I just asked him, though. Is that fair to do to him?
Yes, it is, because we asked him, have a lot of people been asking you about that? He could have just said, yeah, a lot of people, I just did an interview. But he said, I did an interview with Rolling Stone magazine. Ever heard of it?
Is that what he did?
That's what he did.
Yeah, I mean, you didn't say, have you talked to anybody else but us about it? So, yeah.
I don't know. We didn't need to know. It was a Rolling Stone magazine.
I feel,
Ever heard of it?
Ron, I feel like I could predict, though, that humans always overestimate their ability against animals, correct?
Yes and no. I mean, the answer I gave them was one that I think a lot of people didn't believe. I said, yeah, if you got 100 men in their 20s in good shape that are unified and willing to sacrifice a few, they're going to win.
Okay, so can you explain to me, though, is it 100 men at once that we're talking about?
However you
it's got
want
to be 100 men at once. Yes.
I mean, 100 men
That's got to be 100 men at once.
I think the thing is what you said, Ron, which is willing to sacrifice. Because the reality is 100 men at once, the first 2 or 3, they're getting torn apart in the most graphic way. You're telling me the other 97 are like, no, let's keep going. No, you see a man's head get ripped off. You're like, maybe not.
I made it very clear in my interview. Listen, you got to be able to go in there and realize the first few guys are basically on a kamikaze mission. Okay, they're on a kamikaze mission. But understanding that, if you're willing, if this is your goal, if you're fighting for the greater good, even though a gorilla is a gentle giant, is a vegetarian, and would never be in this predicament and would run away from 100 men if he saw it coming at him. But people want to insist, well, what if he couldn't run away? And you had this fight, and who's going to win this fight? Well, okay, at the end of the day, the 100 men are going to survive. The gorilla is not. Now, some of those 100 men, there's going to be collateral damage, okay? There's going to be bites and arterial bleeding. There's going to be broken necks. There's going to be suffocation. There's going to be, horrible concussions that are going to lead to fatal brain bleeds. So there's going to be death there. But at the end of the day, if all the men realize, okay, we're going to sacrifice, they're going to end up at least asphyxiating the gorilla. If they just all pile around him like a big, huge straitjacket, restrict his ability to open his arms, to extend his arms, and go at gut punches, real good abdominal, trauma, that gorilla is going to end up not surviving.
Ron, how many men would die?
I would say probably 10 to 15 are going to lose it.
And why do you think the other 85 are going to keep going? I want you to sort of measure the strength that we're talking about here and how violent all of this would be, because I don't know how this works as a coordinated effort. 100 people getting there is like 50 people getting there. It doesn't make much of a difference. He's going to tear through a lot of people.
Not through a lot. He's going to tear through a few. Don't get me wrong. He's going to tear through a few. But at the end of the day, 100 men. Now, if you told me 20 men, I'd say, no, the gorilla's going to take them.
What's the number?
But, I'm saying the number's probably going to be closer to 50.
That's it, guys. 50 guys. Let's go.
It's going to be closer to 50. And this is men, again, going in with this kamikaze attitude, saying, listen, some of us are going to die, but this is for the greater good. I made that very clear because in reality, like you're saying, Dan, the first few guys get their freaking heads ripped off and bitten out through the skull. Those next guys are going, I'm out of here. I'm done. But if they remain committed, they will triumph.
Well, what do those 50 guys have to? Ron? What do those 50 guys have to look like? Like they can't look like me. Is it 50 Brock Lesnar's?
And it doesn't make a difference if it's 50 MMA guys versus 50 of us.
No, it makes a difference.
No, as long as it can't be 50 90-year-olds. But 50 guys in their 20s in reasonably good shape.
59-year-olds would get ugly.
The gorilla doesn't have much stamina, does it?
No, it doesn't. That's the other thing. It's just going to become exhausted after a while. You basically exhaust the animal. And, people keep thinking, yeah, it's got the bite, the head is very... But the abdomen of that animal you can give it some pretty traumatic injury that would lead to internal bleeding that could lead to its death. The eyes, of course, are always susceptible to things. And just the bottom line is asphyxiation. You get everybody on top of this gorilla where he can't breathe and he's fighting, he loses his breath, he'll pass out, and he'll eventually die.
Rope-a-dope.
Ron, do you have a pen and a paper by you by any chance or no?
I do.
All right, great, because I have a hypothetical that one of my friends, a firefighter, Lewis, asked me. So before you kind of just throw it off, cast it aside, remember, he's a first responder, so you're disrespecting first responders. All right, so Ron, write this down. You or me, whoever it is stuck in an arena with the following, okay? 50 hawks, 10 crocodiles, 3 brown bears, 15 wolves, a hunter with a rifle, 7 buffalo, 10,000 rats, 5 gorillas, and 4 lions. You need to pick 2 to defend you, and the others attack you. Which ones would you choose to survive an hour?
I like this.
Let's do it again.
I got 50 hawks, 10 crocs, 3 bears, 15 wolves, man with a rifle, 10,000 rats, and 5 lions?
Yeah, did you put the buffaloes in there?
Oh, no. How many of those?
7 buffaloes. Also, the 3 brown bears. I don't know if there's a difference between the brown bear and the black bear, but I know you told us one of them you say a hay bear, and the other one you can't do anything.
But the question is basically, do you take the man with the rifle?
Well, you pick 2 to help you survive for an hour, but everyone else is attacking.
But you're worried about the rats. You're worried about the number of rats and the rifle.
I would think this is also like Royal Rumble style too, right? Where they'll start taking each other out, so you don't have to worry too much. Yeah.
Yeah, but 10,000 rats.
But the rats, I mean, Ron,
are they just going to run by, or are they going to immediately attack? Are they hungry rats? Does it matter?
Yeah, if you're in a room with 10,000 rats.
This is the same scenario as 100 men and a gorilla. I don't want to face 10,000 rats. Yeah, I could take out probably 100 of them, maybe 200 of them. But if they're coming at me like a freaking scene out of Willard, and they're all biting and gnawing, I'm going to die.
But would they be?
So that sounds like you're drafting the rats to protect you, right?
Yes, I'm drafting the rats to protect me.
I want the rats too on my team.
Yeah.
So the rats and the rifle is what you're taking, and say bring all comers.
Yep.
I mean, I don't know. I'm not a rifleman, Ron. Rifles are not automatic. You'd have to reload the rifle. And do you have unlimited ammo in that situation?
Oh, well, no. I'm going with an automatic rifle.
No, okay. All right, good.
I assume that we were taking a rifleman who could shoot and would take out a number of animals.
I was thinking more so with a musket that had to manually
So it's just me with the bayonet
man.
then is what you're giving me?
No, that wasn't an option. No bayonets involved here. Yeah, no.
No. I would go with the 10,000 rats, man with a rifle. My second option with the man with the without the man and the rifle would be 5 lions.
What about the wolves? The wolves, they work together?
The wolves would be, they're certainly a concern because they are very teamwork oriented, right? And can wear down stamina. And there are 15 of those, which makes a difference. But
I'm not worried about the wolves.
Who would be
5 lions? 5 lions will take away 15 wolves.
Who'd be the first to go, Ron? Because now I'm thinking with these large-size animals, like the rats, they could just step on them very easily by accident, not even realizing what they're doing.
That's true, but there's 10,000 of them, Billy.
But
10,
there's 50 hawks also.
No,
hawks can go
hawks.
into the rafters if they want. Just fly by. They can hide out.
But hawks are going to inflict puncture wounds with their talons. That's it. They're not going to. It's not going to be the beak. It's the talons that are going to hurt you. So you're going to cut up. You might lose an eye. You're going to bleed a lot. They're not going to kill you.
What does the rifleman have to do though? He's got to take out the lions first, and then the bears, and now there are wolves on his arms.
Yeah.
Oh. So wait a minute. You're telling me that you got 2 things to defend you against everything else?
That's right. And the rats, this is what's happening.
The
thing that you have a problem with here, the rats are running all over the place. They've left the wolves alone, and now my rifleman is covered in buffalo.
If that's the case, if you're telling me I can just pick 2 to defend me against all the rest, it's not if but when you're going to die.
No, but you have to survive only 1 hour. Who keeps you alive the longest?
Well, this is the question, Ron. See, what's happened here is I've sent my rats out, and I think I'm okay, but I'm not okay because my rifleman's slow, he's old, and he's only got 8 of the animals. Now what am I doing with the rest if they're all hell-bent on killing me?
Dan, you're bringing in a lot of other factors here. You're bringing, in fact,
I can't control the rats.
I'm assuming everything we're talking about here is in its prime.
Yeah.
It's the best at what it does.
I can't control the rats, though. The rats are not trainable. The rats are not attacking.
No, wait a minute. If you're having animals to protect you, you're assuming that they are trainable. For that matter, none of this thing. The guy with the rifle is going to say, hell, I'm out of here. I don't want to deal with all this shit. He's going to run away.
I'll tell you, Ron,
he can just turn to shoot you, and they're like, we're done.
I'll tell you what, though. In the 10,000, there's going to be a dud rat or two in the 10,000. If we're going to be honest with you.
Yeah, but it's 10,000.
Okay, a dud rat or two. That still leaves 9,998.
It's 10,000 rats.
Well, okay.
50 hawks got nothing against 10,000 rats. They're just going to be flying around.
They have nothing. Crocs are not fast enough. Crocs are not fast enough on land. Now, we're doing this on land, I'm assuming, right? I'm not doing this in the water.
No, you're in an arena, Yeah,
we're on land, but are Crocs going to chase me around? Don't I have to just run around in circles and they'll stop chasing me because they can't do that?
Yeah. Well, no. That zigzag stuff is another myth. No. But they're not going to. You're going to be able to get away from Crocs on land. That's not a problem.
How do I get away from a crocodile? How do I do that? You're saying if I zigzag, it doesn't work?
I'm telling you right now. You say it's a myth. I'm zigzagging if I'm getting chased by one of those.
Or
things.
running in circles.
And you may get nailed then, Chris, because when you're zigzagging, instead of going, the croc is going in a straight line. It's going to catch you as you're zagging.
I could juke out a croc.
So it's not zigzagging. A crocodile can't actually chase us down very well, can it? If we're not running in a straight line.
Yeah. If you're running in a straight line, even then, you're not going to get chased down by a crocodile. You'll be able to outrun the crocodile in a short spurt. Okay, if a crocodile, you walk up to a crocodile, let's say 10 feet away, and you surprise it, in a short spurt, it can overtake you.
But I'll run a mile faster. Like a mile, I'll run it faster.
I'm assuming that you're going to see these crocodiles from a further distance away. I mean, what's the size of the room you're in?
It's an arena.
It's an arena, yeah.
It's an arena. So you got plenty of room to get away from crocodiles. Are the least of my concerns here. Okay.
Okay, Ron, we took the rats. We took the guy with the rifle. What's the strategy? In my mind, the rifle guy takes out the hawks first, right? Just
no. The rifle guy takes out the lions, man.
Lions
and the bears.
Got to go, and right after that, the bears.
But what if the wolves break into three? There's 15 wolves, remember? What if they break it into 3 packs of 5?
This is why I'm saying I've got wolves on my arms on my rifleman, and now I've just got a bunch of rats defending me. And now I'm proper bleeped. Because I don't have a rifleman anymore.
Is there any part of these animals that see one lone human being standing there and think, that's the least of my worries? And they just start attacking each other, and then you just kind of hang out in the corner, and then all of a sudden, you're the last man standing in this Royal Rumble.
I think the rats are going to dominate. 10,000?
I think they'll be bored just running around not doing anything. I don't think they're just going to go into attack mode, right?
Listen, we've got to make this decision under the assumption that the animals know that their job is to defend or to attack.
Yes.
Okay? So these rats they're trained rats that are going to defend you with everything they've got.
Yes, because otherwise, like Ron said, then the guy with the rifle might just turn around and shoot you and be like, oh, yeah, we don't have any.
Exactly, I'm out of here.
But the rats can't do anything
for
the hawks. The hawks are never going to go on the rats' level. Hawks come and start attacking you while the rats are the ground game.
Hawks can hunt
the hawks aren't going to kill you, Billy.
They can't. No, they're trying to. These are trained hawks, killer hawks, yeah.
Can I replace one of the wolves with a former Minnesota Timberwolf?
Kevin Garnett?
No, I would take Pekovic.
Oh yeah. Oh, he's in some hot water.
Really?
Yeah.
I got to Google that one.
Organized crime.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, no, now I want him on my team. You don't want him against you.
Ron, good seeing you. Good talking to you. Thank you, sir.
Oh, God. Have a good day, guys.
It's exhausting for him.
Hey, you in the audience. It's Mike. You've been a fan of this show, hopefully, for a long time, and you know how much Miller Lite means to me. This partnership, it's real. It's documented. For almost 20 years, Miller Lite has been a partner of the Dan Le Batard Show with Stugotz, and now Miller Lite is celebrating its 50th anniversary. I've had so many great moments with Miller Lite, so many great activations, so many great events presented by Miller Lite, a great partner. Cheers to them. Cheers to 50 incredible years. And for you at home, you know that Miller time always means a good time. From game night to parties with friends or a special anniversary, celebrating important occasions means more moments with the coolest people in your life. Cheers to 50 years of Miller Lite, the great-tasting light beer for people who love beer since 1975. Now's a perfect time to celebrate legendary stories with friends, family, and a great-tasting light beer. It's Miller time. Miller Lite. Great taste. 96 calories. Go to MillerLite.com/Dan to find delivery options near you, or you can pick up some Miller Lite pretty much anywhere they sell beer. It's Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces.